Welcome to the Port City Plate Podcast, presented by Bienville Bites Food Tour. The Port City Plate Podcast, serving up the food, history, and people of Mobile, Alabama, for people who love the Port City. I'm your host, Chris Andrews, and today on the podcast, we've got Matt LeMond. Matt is one of the most successful business owners, I think, in downtown Mobile. He started O Daly's Irish Pub way back in 2010. And since then, he's grown that space there at O Daly's, which includes sports bar next door, draft picks, daiquiri bar next door to that at the Dauphin St Blues Company, which all comprise O Daly's there. Across the street is the widely popular Post Wine Bar, which he opened in 2019, and now the Insider Collective Eatery, Mobile's first food hall, along with Cedar Street Social Club, the Outsider, and the list just keeps growing. Matt, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. This is awesome.
I was looking back at your Facebook page from when you opened O Daly's in 2010. It looks like y'all opened up on Super Bowl 44 that weekend. The New Orleans Saints beat the Indianapolis Colts.
Man, I was telling somebody that story yesterday. I'm pretty sure I still have dirt underneath my fingernails from that time. You know, developing that property was special because I was so hands-on. I mean, I dug the trench for the plumbing for that, you know, balling on a budget. But, yeah, we opened up February 4th, 2010. It was a Thursday. My birthday was that Saturday, February 6th. The Saints won the Super Bowl that Sunday. I showed up to work on Monday, and I was like, all right, how do we do this? Because it was quite the weekend. So.
Well, and you're a huge Saints fan, too. So that, like, that had to have been a crazy weekend for you.
It was. You know, I'm originally from New Orleans, so it was difficult to not be in Miami for that Super Bowl, but there was just something special about that weekend. And ironically, 10 years later for our 10-year anniversary, it looked like the Saints were almost going to make it to the Super Bowl again, and we won't go into that call against the Rams or anything like that, but I had tickets. I was headed to this Brady Breeze showdown, but, you know, fate wasn't on our side.
There's been a lot of close calls for the Saints.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jameis Winston can lead the Saints to any success?
Oh, man. I want to believe so. You know, I'm a firm believer and really giving somebody a chance, but he has just not been the quarterback this season. And, you know, he looked slightly injured that first game, and so I don't know if that's the case, but I'm not a couch coach. You know, I love the Saints, diehard Saints fan, but you know, what they're doing over the past few years has seemed to work. And for me, it's a chance to go back to New Orleans, have some fun, see some family, and obviously I want to take home a W, but it doesn't affect my day.
All right, so what brought you to Mobile from New Orleans?
So I came actually for college. I came to Spring Hill College. It's kind of a last-second decision. I was actually planning to go to college in Santa Barbara. I was just about wrapped up to go to college there, and last second I came on a tour to Spring Hill, and I just kind of remember the feel of it, you know, 2-hour drive versus, you know, a couple-hour flight. I could feel kind of the look on my parents' eyes, and it just felt right. It was, you know, I could feel the campus was beautiful. I didn't know anything about Mobile, and so much so that my first 2 years on campus, I pretty much loved Spring Hill College. I didn't really know much about Mobile, and then my second 2 years, my junior and senior year, so I guess I about turned 21. I got to learn a little bit more about Mobile, and I made friends outside of Spring Hill, and I think that's when I really fell in love with the city.
That's cool. So you mentioned you dug the trench, literally, the old O Daly's location when y'all opened. What attracted you? I mean, downtown was kind of dead on that end when you opened up O Daly's back then.
So I actually had another bar at the time, across from Noja. So, gosh, I was 21, was just about to turn 22, and had this bar. Decided to do the Irish pub, and fun fact, this is how little I knew at the time. I was actually trying to put it where the Mediterranean Sandwich Shop is currently at. And hindsight, gosh, the place is so small. I mean, it works so well for them, and I'm so glad for their success. But for us, it would not have been the case. And I happened to stumble across this location, and I was working for Red Bull North America at that time, and my job was to throw unique events and to never throw the same event at the same location. I could kind of feel the writing on the wall with Red Bull with some different changes, and so I kind of organically fell into this business world. I didn't really have any plans to do so. I graduated with a biology degree. Never had taken any business classes. So, but I looked at this building and it was a shell. It was just cement floors, cinder block walls. And I was like, it's all right. And I opened the back door and it had weeds over my head, but it was this big field, and it just lit me up because it really brought me to like what my current job was, which was to throw unique events and never at the same location. Instead, my job would stay the same, except throw unique events, but the location always stays the same. And that's really what I wanted to build O Daly's on, was a brand instead of a bar. If you believe in the brand, you're going to talk about it, share it, and come back. A bar, that's not fun for us. You just walk in, sit at a bar stool, and have a drink. I'm in this business because I love the people and getting to know the community and visitors like that. To me, that's the best part.
I like that because, on our tour, when we make our stops at O Daly's, it's more of an experience. Our guests get to go in the back and, play cornhole, or,
right.
They're always amazed by the wiffle ball field and
Right.
things like that. So, like I said, it doesn't feel like a bar stop for us on our tour when we go there.
Good.
So you've opened the hole in the wall next door to the kitchen.
That's right.
And that's where the infamous 504 pizza, which is served on our tour, come from. What's the inspiration behind the 504 pizza?
I have a friend that I kind of knew prior to really even opening O Daly's, and I said, hey, if I ever had a kitchen, you're my guy. And fate would have it, it worked out, kind of putting it into the universe. And he was our first kitchen manager, and he helped develop the 504 pizza. It's got a little bit of a kick to it with the hot sauce and Kaneka, with a little bit of our flavor from the Guinness glaze that we make in-house. But I really give the credit to Rob Varner. I mean, he now has his own business with Sheepheads Eats, but it has taken a life of its own in the past few years. I mean, I very often these days, and I kind of joke that I'm usually dressed as a civilian when I'm in there. I don't usually have O Daly's shirts on, but I'll see people looking at the menu, and I'll be like, get the 504. If you don't want it, I'll eat it. And they're like, this guy's strange, versus I'll pay for it. I'll be like, if you don't want it, I'll eat it. And most times they do get it. I mean, there's something about it. I don't know. There's items on that pizza that I would not normally put in food, and I don't take it off of this pizza. I don't know, but I'm thankful that it's kind of had this life, and it's fun that it has 504, which is the area code of New Orleans also.
Yeah, that's cool. I agree. When people come on the tour and they have the 504 for the first time, it's everybody. You see their eyebrow, you see their reaction after their first bite. They're like, "Oh man!" And I talk to people all the time who, like, "Yeah, we took the tour. We had they still go down there and get the 504." Like me now, sometimes I'll go down there and get it to go. Take it back home, something like that.
Nice, yeah.
So, huge fan of the 504. If you haven't had the 504 pizza, I personally think it's the best pizza in downtown Mobile. But across the street from O Daly's, you opened Post Wine Bar 2019, and it's completely different than anything that you had delved into up until that time. Completely different vibe. Tell us about how that kind of got started.
Yeah, this is really funny because I had this conversation with somebody yesterday about a lot of these questions, and your business, I feel like, ends up kind of reflecting your life a little bit, and I think it allows it to be more personal that way, and allows people to get to know me without even really knowing it. But a couple things with Post. One, kind of tying it back to Spring Hill College. When you're a freshman, they have a ceremony where you walk into the Avenue of the Oaks, and it's like, celebrating your life into this journey of college, which I consider O Daly's. And then when you graduate, it's like you walk out of the Avenue of the Oaks, and it's like, okay, now you're celebrating your life into, your career and stuff like that. So I'm like, That's post. But don't get me wrong, I like to act a fool at O Daly's every now and then too. But post, really, a lot of people think that it came from it being an old post office, which is not the case. And unless they ask, I'll kind of let them go with it. But it actually came from I'm a big advocate for men's health and suicide prevention as a whole for everyone. Males are 75% of most suicides, but women deal with mental health just like men. They just do a better job of talking about it. But it was I originally was going to have it focused towards this men's health thing, and I was going to actually call it Barber, capital B-A-R, lowercase B-E-R. I just felt it was too geared towards men, and I wanted to change it so that it was really for everybody. And actually, I just talked to my mom about this morning. I was traveling a lot this past month, and every time I go out of town, I send her a postcard. And so I asked her, I said, "Did you get my postcard?" She said, "Oh, yeah, I meant to tell you in person." But so post actually came from the mental health aspect of, when you go to a bar, restaurant, in most cases, you're going there with friends or family or a date or somebody, and you're communicating and you're opening up and you're spending these times. And and so that was really where the name came from and some of the intentionality from it came,
And we got, of course, the Movember coming up, and I know. Tell us a little about that. I know a lot of you grow the mustache out,
right?
And which that's kind of evolved a little bit. When you first started,
yeah.
It was not cool to have a mustache. Now I think you don't have probably any problem at all finding guys to grow their mustache out.
No, I still have my few that don't want to lose their beards, but one day I'll get them. It's my 13th year. It started basically right when I started O Daly. It's my 13th year growing out a mustache. And at that time, it was just me and a friend out of Pensacola. And unfortunately, a lot of people deal with mental health. And we've had some friends that have died by suicide, some, people that are close to home. And it is directly relative to a lot of people. So unfortunately, people can relate to that. There's also prostate cancer and testicular cancer, which a close friend of mine, reached out a few years ago and was pretty confidential about this testicular cancer. And I kind of helped encourage him through that time. He knows an advocate, and I'm not a counselor, I'm not any of these things, but he knows since I'm such a big advocate, he felt safe to come to me. And so much so that he ended up sharing his story and creating his own team in New Orleans and raising money and kind of being out in the open versus, kind of, embarrassed at first, which there's nothing to be embarrassed about. But, we do so many fun events. We have a golf tournament that we're planning right now that's on November 4th at Spring Hill. And it really is a feel-good month. We get a lot of friends and friends of friends and new friends that get together, and it's really about spending time together and kind of this reconnection period. We do raise money for Movember, which they spread the money throughout various the American Cancer Society, the Livestrong Foundation. And then we've also decided to take some of our money and write a check to somebody local or a local cancer society, just so we can kind of keep some of the money close to home. I think the highest we've been was top 6 in the nation, 13th in the world in fundraising. And it was somewhere around 65,000, I believe. And it was great to advocate this money, but we really couldn't put a face with it. And so 2 years ago, I was like, what do you guys think about putting this in our community? And last year was the first year that we did that. It was really special.
That's cool.
You never know, to me, you never know when you're going to be on the other end of that. And so it feels good to be the one to try to help somebody out, because, what's life really about without this?
That's right. Yeah, I know my own awareness has been raised from it, just from your campaigns.
Cool.
Yeah, so, you've mentioned a lot about different events that y'all host, and how do you gauge the market on that? Because you seem like you nail it. You find that you host these events that are so successful. How do you gauge that?
I appreciate that compliment. Not all are incredibly successful, but all of them are learning experiences. So we do consider that successful. But for the most part, it's planning, and I've got the best team. I have been able to grow from myself and a manager to a team of about 9 managers, and it's none of this happens without those people. And the people that work with us at every business, and the ideas that they get. As I've gotten older, like, what I think is fun and cool at O Daly's isn't necessarily the number one fun and cool thing, but the one thing that I encourage and try to brainwash is like the out of the box thing. To me, like, what's different, what's unique, what is something that might not even directly put money in our pockets right this second, but will give us the business later on, and somebody will buy into our brand. And that's where I feel like we get that loyalty. Because if they come to this event and they get to know a bartender or have a good experience, to me, subconsciously, when they want to go out again, they're going to choose our venues. And that's where I get like the most excited and really preach kind of this great customer service and these experiences, because ultimately we're all customers, like we may be in the business of customer service, but I still go to business and am a customer and know what I like. And that's what I like to try to deliver as often as possible. But the events are fun. They're time consuming to plan, but when you do plan them, having something go from paper to people on site is like, it's like this drug for me. It's like, and that's how like new business is. It's like I'm writing it down in this notebook that like no one's ever really read before, and it's notes and stuff. And then it turns into meetings and turns into, planning and architecture and stuff like that. And then suddenly it's built, and then there's customers there, and it's like, wow, like you can picture it as it goes. And then suddenly people are there enjoying it. And to me, like, that's what's like so enjoyable. I don't know if that really answered your question or went on a little tangent, but that is probably my most favorite part is the event side of things.
Yeah, your staff, they do an awesome job. I know, just working with Tyler at Post a little bit, and man, he's always got, like the cocktail classes, and even for our tour, I know we're doing the haunted tours in October, and he's ordering the blood bags, which are insanely popular, and so he always goes above and beyond.
He is the most colorful person and the most enthusiastic person. He's so awesome to work with, and he's now going to take over both Post locations and kind of oversee those. He's really deserved some more responsibility because of those things. He takes the initiative to do that. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, man, that's awesome. How about we add this to it? And he's like, I'm on top of it. And that's, man, you can't have better people like that on your squad, And so, the cocktail class, that was his idea. He's run with that, and he sells out one a month. That's his deal. And that's where, to me, like, as the business owner, like, I understand there's parts of my job that I don't love doing, like there's things that I do throughout the week that I'm like, this is just part of my job. But there are things that I really enjoy doing, and I see myself like motivated on those tasks. So part of my job is seeing where the managers enjoy their parts of their job, and those things are usually their strengths. And so like, how can I funnel them into their strengths and help them spend less time on, sitting behind a computer or whatnot. So like his strengths is so much of this creative world, and how can I free up some time so he can do the things that he enjoys the most, So, it's fun, and I'm excited to see, their theme for Halloween and all the other stuff. So
you mentioned the second location of Post, so that's going to be Post on the Hill.
That's right.
In Spring Hill. What can we expect from Post on the Hill?
Man, I am excited about this location. I am, as I told you before we hopped on here, I just hit 18 years in Mobile, which is just as long as I was in New Orleans. So I'm showing my age, but and I started my time in Mobile at Spring Hill College, and now I'm about a block away. So it feels really special, and now to deliver something that I'm passionate about to that area. We are very prideful about what we have created at Post, so we're encouraged to bring that to the Spring Hill area, while also kind of understanding the market over there, as well as wanting to differentiate ourselves a little bit. So we are going to have like 4 cocktails on the regular menu that you can't get downtown. And there'll be a few cocktails there that you can't get from downtown also. And then we're going to do that through our featured menus as well. We are going to be family friendly. So that's a little bit different thing than the Post downtown. And we're beefing up our menu just a little bit. So because of that, we still do call ourselves a bar with food than a restaurant. But that courtyard, I don't know if you're familiar with that space so super well, but that courtyard's big. And I was just working with a local event space company, and we kind of went and measured how many different sizes of tents we could do for events. And he's a pro at this, and he said, man, you can fit 300 people back here. So, I mean, that's double the size of downtown. So we're excited, and we're gonna eventually, I think, try to grow into a more lunchy thing, but we are gonna open a little bit earlier. But same vibe and feel. It's gonna look and feel really sharp, and I'm excited. It's gonna be looking towards the end of next month.
What do you see on the food menu there?
So we are sticking with our pizzas. We're going to beef up a few more pizzas. We have a new executive chef, actually. It seems funny to say that because I don't feel like we deserve an executive chef, but he has taken over the menu at both Post locations and O Daly's. And he's from the Spring Hill area, so he's excited to kind of showcase that a little bit. He's got a handful of handcrafted items. I mean, he's got some duck truffle fries that he's excited about, some specialty crab cakes, a lot of bar snacky stuff that you can make into food. But we're going to do a good burger night there, and we're also kind of talking about maybe quarterly doing like a steak night wine pairing kind of deal that I think fits that location a little bit better than downtown.
100%. So that's the old August House location on Spring Hill. And I know you mentioned, the chef kind of playing around some new stuff. There was an event here at the Fuse Factory where we are recording the podcast, and they had some food brought in from Post, and it was he was trying out the Nashville hot chicken toast, and I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
when it hits the menu, you definitely want to get that Nashville hot chicken
toast.
Thanks
for the plug.
That was good stuff.
I appreciate
That's good stuff. And speaking of food, we have to talk about the Insider Food Hall.
Right.
Just a block down from all your current locations, Post and O Daly's, which compromises PS Taco, Chicken District, Hammered Cow, Poke Bowl.
Yep.
What gave you the inspiration for Mobile's first food hall?
To be honest, I went on a conference. I've been fortunate enough to be on the Downtown Alliance board for a few years, and I got invited to a conference, the International Downtown Alliance Conference in Atlanta, and they had just developed Ponce City Market, and I remember just being blown away with it. And over the years, I've kind of been fortunate to be re-invited to these conferences. There's a handful of people on the board, but I don't know, I just got lucky, so I've went to Winnipeg, Canada, and then Baltimore, and we always go to these food halls, and I've loved the kind of something for everyone concept. Also, I do kind of consider myself a little bit more of a bar guy than a food guy. I have good experience with the food. I think that I just enjoy the bar side of things just a little bit more. So with having this space, we originally had it for lease, and then kind of just like I tried to fit the food hall in a building down the street, and I just felt like I was forcing it there. Scrapped the whole project and kind of sat on it for a bit, and then I was like, man, what am I doing? I have this square footage right down the block. Let's put it to use. And it felt good. It felt right. We have I was able to add the Outsider, which I'm sure you'd like to talk about too, but the sports bar next to it. And then we had Cedar Street Social Club already. And so to me, it was like this great bar concept that could complement the food and vice versa, and let the pros be the pros with the food and let us do the bar and kind of coexist. But additionally, as an advocate for downtown Mobile and like a lover of all things downtown, I really wanted to kind of advocate for more restaurants and businesses in downtown, because as I have a handful of businesses down here, I encourage new bar business. It just brings good foot traffic. It just brings good, visitation to the city from travelers. And so like, I welcome new business. I don't, whether it be competition or whatnot, to me, it is a healthy competition, and it allows better foot traffic. So to me, I was like very enthusiastic about those vendors trying out downtown, getting to know this area, and learning a little bit of the ups and downs, but also kind of working through it. So it's been a lot of fun. I've had 2 groups of friends open up restaurants that have wanted to. So I mean, I get to see them daily. So that's really cool and really special. So
I love the community aspect of it, where you go and you're going to sit with strangers sometimes, and you strike up conversations. And
right.
I love that part about it too. All right, so we're going to go, the next segment of the podcast is called Meat and 3.
Okay.
So we've gotten into the meat of the podcast already. So now I've got 3 rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
All right, what was your first job?
I was a lifeguard at English Turn Country Club in New Orleans.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're probably more of a late night guy, I would assume. Well, probably used to be more of a late night guy.
Yeah.
You kind of transition maybe your role a little bit. But what's your favorite breakfast?
So I eat the same breakfast every day. I'm like a robot here. I don't know how many people are going to call me out on this, but I'm actually a morning person. I get up pretty early. Today I was up at like 4:20.
Wouldn't have thought that.
I love the quietness of the morning, phone's quiet, email's quiet, that kind of thing. Can spend some time with, coffee and God and really reflect a little bit throughout the day. I don't feel like I have that opportunity. But I have eaten for the past, I track my food. I know, super nerd. But I eat 3 eggs scrambled with turkey sausage, a Dave's Killer bagel with nut butter, and this shake that I actually have here now because I was full this morning. I didn't finish it. But I do like to branch out, and I'll toast some local things. When I do get a chance to really like, I love front yard tacos. That's awesome. That's probably one of my go-tos. And then I had it recently. The Hammered Cow has a brunch burger, and I really splurged.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's really good. But that's like a once a month, for me. But so not so rapid fire, but yeah, that's my breakfast.
That's all good. All right, last question is, and you're going to have to think about this one, I think.
Okay.
Strangest occurrence that you've seen in your time, whether it's O Daly's or Post. Strangest occurrence.
Well, there's a few that I can't say on here, but let me think about this. It's funny. When I travel and I meet people like briefly, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" I usually say marketing, because if I say marketing, they're like, don't really deep dive into it. But if I say, "Oh, I own a few bars," or manage people, like, "Oh, what's your craziest story?" So, you asked it, man. The strangest, is that what you said?
Strangest occurrence.
Gosh. I can't think of the strangest occurrence off the top of my head. I know I'm going to think about it as soon as I leave here.
The reason I asked you is because one of the strangest occurrences that I've had on the Bienville Bites tour came at O Daly's.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to tell you the story. You may remember this, you may not. It's been several years back, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We were doing some Mardi Gras tours. And, of course, during Mardi Gras, we came to O Daly's, was one of our stops. And y'all had the bouncers out front and checking everybody's ID. And we had this one lady on the tour. She was, I know she was every bit of 85. She may have been older. And
he carded her.
He carded her, of course, yeah. Well, there was another guy on the tour who showed up a little intoxicated beforehand. He had pre-gamed beforehand a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was not okay with your bouncer checking this lady's ID. She was kind of fumbling around in her purse a little bit, and so he told the bouncer how he felt about it.
Okay.
And the bouncer, of course, was like, "Hey, man, I'm just doing my job."
Right.
He kept, he
the bear,
kept at it. And the bouncer eventually called the cops on him.
Yeah.
And cops showed up, middle of the tour. This guy had family on the tour. and you know, even his family didn't feel sorry for him. I mean, he was like, man, you know, hey, if he wants to run his mouth like that, he can go to jail.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
Good job with the door guy. Whoever that door guy
is. Handled it.
Yeah, that's good. You know, I mean, I tell them, you know, card my dad, you know, because Alabama law for us is a valid ID. And so it's we struggle with that during Mardi Gras because so many people do not bring their IDs down there. But I don't know. My strangest thing, I don't have anything like that I can think of off the top. I can think of a lot of things, but I don't want to share them here. But you know, I think a few things that are kind of like crazy. We had I had a guy walk in once, and I mean, I immediately knew who he was. It was a guy and his dad, and it was right when they were doing those Gronk commercials, and his brother, Gronk's brother, is also Gronk, you know, so they're doing these Gronk commercials, and he's also Gronk, and then they're turning around, it's the wrong Gronk. Well, it was Gronk and his dad, and they were there telling us that Gronk was on his way and wanted us to, like, do we have a VIP area and velvet ropes at O Daly's? I'm like, yeah, we do. We didn't. So I got my biggest bouncer that I could, oh, we got security for you guys. I grabbed 2 Red Bull tables and turned them into a VIP, whatever. Gronk ended up showing up. They played wiffle ball that night. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. So that's probably kind of strangest things. Maybe the other strangest thing is calling myself out. We opened up February 4th, as I said earlier. Mardi Gras was a few weeks after that. Well, I guess I was just a little young and excited. And I made these T-shirts that had O Daly's on one side, the back said "Sorry for partying." And it was Joe Kane Sunday, late in the evening. Business had slowed down. I was feeling good, and a couple walked in, and they introduced themselves. Live downtown, blah blah blah. She's like, "I love your shirt." She's like, "Do you have any more for sale?" And I was like, "No, but you can have this one." So I took my shirt off in the bar and gave it to him. I don't have another shirt because I was at the bar. Ironically, it's my great friends Alan and Danielle Williams who now own Chicken District in the food hall. So we literally said, hey, look, we met because he gave us the shirt off of his back. So I guess I'm the idiot that gets the strange story. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So if anybody needs a shirt, I'm a large.
Next segment of the show is called Chris's Dishes. And this is where I talk about the best dish that I've had in downtown Mobile this week, or Mobile in general. And the best dish that I've had this week came from the Bistro St. Emmanuel. I had the poutine Emmanuel, which is really unlike any dish in Mobile. I have not seen poutine on a menu in Mobile.
Right.
Usually that's reserved for when I go to Epcot or something like that, at Disney. But then they have the Conecuh sausage on it.
Yeah.
They got the brown gravy. They call it the bourbon brown gravy.
Okay.
With the cheese curd. I mean, it was a cheese curd in every single bite, Conecuh in every bite, with their fries. It was phenomenal. Best dish that I've had this week.
That place is cool. It feels like I'm in New Orleans.
It does, yeah.
I mean, I sit outside a day like today, how beautiful it is. I mean, sit out front. You get a direct shot to the cruise ship down that alleyway between Fort Conde. It's awesome. It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah. What is the best dish that you've had in the last week?
Two good friends of mine, actually, one that you know well, Sarah, and her wife. We went kind of on the whim. I guess it was, which night was it? Tuesday night. And we went to Haberdasher. And we were looking at the menu, and I was like, and her wife, Allie, was like, this is like a restaurant. Like, it has steak. I had no idea they had steak.
It'll surprise you. The menu there will surprise you.
Yeah, I went for the avocado fries. But we got the avocado fries. Sarah picked the menu. Said, you go pick everything, whatever. Said, surprise us. And she got the avocado fries, the truffle fries, and she got a steak and snap peas. And I was like, this is pretty dang good. And then I had my favorite drink that they serve, the jerk store. So
nice.
So
the cauliflower's good there. The fried cauliflower.
I didn't have it. I saw it on there. Again, she kind of surprised the table. I think she kind of knew what we wanted kind of thing. But, yeah, I think that was kind of out of the norm for me, but really good. So, those are good friends of mine, and they do great stuff down there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed it. Thank y'all for listening. Thanks for Matt for coming on. Y'all go see Matt at O Daly's. He'll probably give you one of his shirts. You go see him at Post on the Hill coming soon. And, of course, all the things we've mentioned. We've mentioned the Insider Food Hall, the Outsider next door, the Cedar Street Social Club. And, of course, all the things. He's probably got some other stuff coming soon. He's never stopping. Thank y'all for listening. Check us out, Port City Plate on Facebook, the Port City Plate Facebook group, where I will share Chris's dishes, the poutine Emmanuel. And we will look forward to catching back with y'all on the next episode.